Serious Hanyu Yuzuru Loss in the Figure Skating World Championships, the balance of the International Skating Federation deteriorated by 2.7 billion yen. Yuzuru Hanyu, 28 years old, slowly began to spin on the darkened link, wrapped in cheers and roars similar to screams. When he was in the spotlight, the enthusiasm of the venue was at its peak at once. Starting with the Chiba and Makihari performance on May 26, Hanyu is participating in Fantasy on Ice 2023, which will be the last day of the Kobe performance on June 25. Hanyu has been attracting fans as a professional since he announced his retirement from the competition in July 2022, but on the other hand, the International Skating Federation, hereinafter referred to as ISU, is in a corner. Yuzuru Hanyu wearing a cap and illuminated by streetlights. Late at night. In addition, Hanyu, where the blood vessels float, and the moment when you turn around and get in the car in Canada. On June 2, ISO released its income and expenditure report for 2022. According to it, the income and expenditure in 2022 will deteriorate by about 2.7 billion yen compared to the previous year. One of the reasons was written as the following meaningful content. The fact that the most popular Japanese figure skater has retired from the competition is also making this problem even worse. In response to the unusual income and expenditure report, there is a violent earthquake in the skating industry. ISU's income and expenditure report is similar every year, but this time it was obviously different from previous years. That is a point that clearly refers to the slump of the skating industry. I'm hiding my name, but it's obvious that the retired Japanese figure skater is Mr. Hanyu. In the past reports, there is no mention of individuals, figure skating officials. ISO lists 4 reasons as factors for the deterioration of income and expenditure. The first is that due to the failure of Russian athletes to participate in the tournament, the broadcasting rights fee and advertising revenue from Russia have disappeared. Secondly, they are struggling to gather sponsors due to the economic downturn of the corona disaster. Thirdly, he mentioned that the response is insufficient as advertisements shift from TV to the web. Finally, Hanyu's retirement absence of stars is making this income slump worse. In fact, the skating industry after Hanyu's retirement is changing drastically, says the figure skating people and the previous figure skating person with a grim face. The World Championships in March this year were held at the Saitama Super Arena for the first time in 4 years. Of course, I expected it to be full every day, but depending on the day, the vacant seats were quite noticeable. A figure skating fan also says, when Yuzuru Hanyu was there, I didn't win any tickets at all. Recently, I'm surprised that even excellent seats have become very easy to get. The back half of the stand may be in a rattle state. In addition, it is said that the broadcasting rights of TV have changed from the time when Hanyu was there. When Mr. Hanyu was competing, there was a fierce competition at each company. It is said that Japanese TV stations paid more than 1 billion yen in broadcasting rights fees in a year, and it is estimated that Japan accounted for about 40% of the broadcasting rights fees obtained by ISU. The big air gold medalist of the Beijing Olympics is training in Japan, where he has the opportunity to see the figure skating superstar perform live. To truly appreciate the work of one Olympic champion, all the efforts and sacrifices put on the altar of a gold medal, can another Olympic champion. So when ice snowboarding champion Su Yuming had the opportunity to face phenomenal figure skater, 2-time Olympic gold medalist Yuzuru Hanyu, he jumped at the opportunity with both hands. Su Yuming was speechless when he saw the performance. He could only utter the word that the idol of the legions of fans around the world is incredibly often described with. I think the word legend describes him perfectly, Su told Olympics.com recently. To be able to win 2 Olympic titles in a row in figure skating is an incredible achievement. I also have Olympic experience behind me, and I can imagine how much work it costs. Now Su is only 19 years old. He became an Olympic champion 3 days before his 18th birthday. It so happened that Hanyu was one of his role models in sports when the young Su was preparing to enter the Olympics. He shared that, like everyone around him, he had known about Hanyu for quite some time. He is really very popular both in China and around the world, and for me he has always been a sporting goal. Hanyu won gold in Sochi and Pyeongchang, and I also strive to show my best at the Winter Games. Therefore, I perceived it as a motivation for myself and a reason to move forward. That's why Su sees Hanyu as a legend, like so many of his other fans around the world. He was able to perform well under such pressure, taking 2 Olympic golds in a row. I think it's not that easy, said Su. In addition to achievements, Hanyu's personality, mannerisms, every moment on the ice make him a legend. I respect him with all my heart. Hanyu, who has completed his amateur career, is now performing with ice shows. Prologue, Gift, not Stelata. He also takes part in the Fantasy on Ice tour as usual every summer. And one of these shows Su, who had training in Japan, visited to see the maestro of figure skating. And according to him it was electrifying. I was just training in Japan when Hanyu was doing one of the ice shows, so it was an opportunity to see him live, and it was amazing. I had never seen his performances before, so perhaps this experience was amazing for me personally. And, to the possible envy of Hanyu's fans around the world, Su was able to meet his idol in person, albeit for a short time. I had the opportunity to say a few words to him after the show was over. And I shared how impressed I was by his performance.